ready one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello BookTube, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. Here I am with Friday Reads. I've just filmed another video and let's make the second one today. So I guess the main news I have on this Friday is that I had a bailing massacre this week. It wasn't maybe a record, but close to being a record for the number of bails. So it was just one of those weeks, and maybe it's going to be just one of those months. And it started off so positively, and every time I bail and start a new book, I just keep that positive energy going, so it's all positive for me. But yes, I think my January bail video might be a two-parter at the rate I'm going. So because of those bails, I've started a bunch of new books this week. One of them is on ebook through Scribd, and it's a collection of poems by the Canadian poet, Western Canadian poet, Lorna Crozier. She was a professor at the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon when I was a student. This is a kind of a collected works called Before the First Word. I read the first several poems. Some of them were great, some of them were kind of so-so. Maybe I was tired or still jet-lagged when I read them, so I'm certainly going to keep going with it. But of course, included in any collected works of the poetry of Lorna Crozier is her most famous poem. It's a little crude, but I think you can deal with the F word that occurs twice here. It's a gardening poem called Carrots. I can't remember if I've read this on my channel before, but if not, please sit down and pull out a carrot, start chewing on it, and listen to this. Carrots are fucking the earth. A permanent erection, they push deeper into the damp and dark. All summer long they try so hard to please. Was it good for you? Was it good? Perhaps because the earth won't answer, they keep on trying. While you stroll through the garden thinking, carrot cake, carrot and onions in beef stew, carrot pudding with caramel sauce, they are fucking their brains out in the hottest part of the afternoon. So that's the state of Canadian poetry, or at least it was in the, I think, 1980s when that was written. Because so many of my bails were on audio, as I'm trying to enjoy the last bit of access to audiobooks through the TuneIn subscription, which expires on Monday, I have started a couple new audiobooks through that service. And one of them, and I'm so glad I've been able to fit this in, was a much talked about book last year, although I think it was published in 2016, but much discussed on BookTube, especially Eric Carl Anderson's channel. An Unrestored Woman by Shobha Rao, a collection of short stories about the partition of India and Pakistan in 1947 and all of the geographical, historical, emotional, psychological aftermath of that, especially as it was wrought upon the bodies of women on both sides of that divide. Really powerful. I'm really enjoying it. I'll have much more to say about it once I've finished. Less positively, and I hope I don't step on any toes here, I started a collection of short stories by the author of the Cromwell trilogy, which is just a stunning literary achievement. This collection is called The Assassination of Margaret Thatcher, and I like the title, but I'm not enjoying the stories very much. They're okay. I mean, it's probably going to end up being a 3-star read, but so far I'm about halfway through, or a little bit over halfway. I'm finding them quite unremarkable and uninteresting. Much more excitingly, I have decided to take part in Mel of Mel's Bookland Adventures book club, which is called Read Around the World Book Club. I'll put a link to her video in the show notes. And the pick for this month is A Golden Age by Tamima Anam. Anam is a Bangladeshi British writer, and this is her debut. I think it's a few years old. And I'm doing it on audio through Scribd, and the audio narrator is just amazing. So I don't have the benefit of an ebook or anything to follow along, but I'm able to listen that deeply, and I'm making notes as I listen because I want to participate as much as possible in the discussion on Mel's book club. But it's starting out really wonderfully, and it's about a young Indian widow whose young children are taken from her in a custody battle by her late husband's brother because she's so poor and whatnot. And then I believe that the story follows through the civil war that led to the creation of Bangladesh, and she and her children are on opposite sides of the border. So in a way that probably echoes a lot of the themes of An Unrestored Woman. I have a really good feeling about it based on how powerfully it's starting out. I mentioned in last Friday Reads, my book buying budget is going to be almost nil for at least the first half, if not the first 3/4 of this year. But I am counting so much on Scribd to keep me in touch with, to give me access to at least a few of the new releases that are coming out. And yesterday was the release date for Joanna Cannon's second novel, Three Things About Elsie. Time difference and whatnot, right, between UK and Scribd is an American company, but the release, it was from the UK, and here I am in Tokyo. But I kept checking Scribd throughout the day, and finally, sometime late last evening, there it was on Scribd as an audiobook. So I started listening to it last night and listened to some more today, and it's really good. The audio narration is great, and I remember her debut novel. It was a 2016 debut, and I read it that year, and I loved it. And then the more I thought about it afterwards, my love kind of came down to a like, but very confident, enjoyable debut. However, this one is starting out really wonderfully, and it's a story of an 82-year-old woman in a nursing home, and nobody believes what she's saying about certain things. I'm very early, so I can't give you more information, but I know from other reviews I've heard that it's an exploration of how little we believe the old people in our lives and what it's like to be an old lady. Those are very resonant themes for me in my life. I love old ladies. And it's got some humor, and the writing is really just delicious. So those are the books that I'm reading that are new to me since last Friday. I will mention this one as well because I will have started and finished this by the time you see me next Friday. I'm doing a buddy read of this with Catherine of Literary Prints, starting Monday, finishing Tuesday, because it's only about 100 pages. 120 pages. Slow Boat by the Japanese novelist Hideo Furukawa. I have read one book by him, his memoir about the 2011 tsunami and earthquake, especially in his home prefecture of Fukushima, called Horses, Horses, in the End the Light Remains the Same, which I just thought was stunning. That's my one chance to use stunning this video. And I tried a historical novel of his about military dogs from Japan that went into Russia, and I bailed on it. It didn't hold my interest where the main characters were dogs, but it was interesting, but not enough to finish. But I'm still, based on his memoir, very curious to see if I like other of his stuff. So Slow Boat is about a young Japanese guy in Tokyo, dying to leave Tokyo, but for whatever reason he can't get out of the city. Whether that's psychologically or whatnot, I have no idea, but Catherine and I will soon find out. So I'll report back on this. Our first buddy read was so fun. She's a wonderful person to buddy read with, but we hated that novel, The Key by Tanizaki, but so hopefully we'll like this one better. So that's what's going on for me. The last few Friday reads I have forgotten to end with that friendly invitation for you to please comment on any of these books or tell me what you're reading at the moment. But that is a standing offer, but I for some reason have been forgetting for weeks and weeks. And James Holder has always weighed in, whether I invited him to or not, which keeps reminding me that I want to always invite people to tell me what's going on, reading-wise or otherwise. So, thanks for watching.